Coming up on Citrus TV News, a winter storm causes thousands of power outages across central New York. Will the snow continue? Our weather anchor McElrath has the answer.
And Governor Andrew Cuomo meets with President Trump. What the president and governor discussed.
And President Trump's controversial comments on the recent climate change report. Citrus TV News starts right now.
Citrus TV News live at 6, your campus news leader.
The snow and freezing temperatures are continuing across central New York. Good evening. I'm Jack Watson.
And I'm Gabrielle Caracciolo. Near the Hall of Languages, students were bundled up walking to class today. A Santa suit even made an appearance right there on the promenade.
To find out if students across campus will get some relief from the snowstorms, we bring in our Citrus TV weather anchor, McElrath, who is live outside. Amber?
Thanks, guys. The snow should be easing up, but obviously not anytime soon. As you can see around me, it's still snowing. It's pretty much been snowing all day, and it is bitter cold outside. If you look at our current temperatures, it's 33 degrees right now, but it feels significantly colder, which is why I'm out here freezing. It feels like 22 degrees. And like I said, we have that light snow, but I have some good news for you. It will be clearing up as we go throughout the night. If you look at our future radar, there's a wintry mix going on throughout the night into tomorrow morning. But as we get to tomorrow afternoon, the wintry mix seems to clear up a little bit, so we actually shouldn't really be seeing any snow tomorrow afternoon. You're going to have to stay tuned for my full weather forecast to find out if the snow is going to come back or if it's going to be gone for a little while. Back to you in the studio.
Thanks, Amber. And while that weather looks harsh out there, according to the Post Standard, it caused over 9,000 power outages today in central New York by 10 a.m. By mid-afternoon, however, workers were able to cut down that number to about 3,000. The Onondaga County Police say they received at least 21 reports of downed power lines, presumably knocked over by winds and snow. A winter weather advisory is still in effect for much of the central New York region until 7 p.m. And Oxfam, a confederation of non-governmental organizations focused on resolving poverty, is hosting a banquet to teach guests about food distribution. The Oxfam Hunger Banquet will be held this Friday from 2 to 3:30 in Eggers Hall. The event is sponsored by Oxfam at SU and is open to all. Also this Friday, a tribute to the late Aretha Franklin. The Community Folk Art Center and SU's Office of Multicultural Affairs is sponsoring a panel discussion and concert in remembrance of the Queen of Soul. The event is free and open to the public and will take place at 805 East Genesee Street right here in Syracuse.
And after last week's recall of romaine lettuce, you'd be hard-pressed to find any on campus. Citrus TV reporter Carmella Boykin is live outside of Ernie Davis to tell us when we can expect it again. Hi, Carmella.
You're like super
All right, we're experiencing some technical difficulties on the end of Carmella. We will, of course, have Carmella's report in just a few short moments. But for right now, state police arrested a suspect this evening in connection with a shooting in Central Square on Monday night. 19-year-old Christine Baker is charged with robbery in the first degree and is now in Oswego County Jail. On Monday, state police responded to a report of a shooting on Fulton Avenue where two men allegedly broke into an apartment, shooting a man inside. Investigators say Baker was already at the apartment prior to the break-in and knew both the suspects and the victim. The two male suspects are still at large. And non-unionized workers in Syracuse will have 12 weeks of paid parental leave for births, adoption, and foster placement. City officials announced that the change today, and it will take effect this Saturday. The city did not previously offer paid parental leave, forcing workers to take vacation time and unpaid leave. And U.S. Representative Claudia Tenney is conceding the race for New York's 22nd House District over 3 weeks after Election Day. The Republican incumbent conceded this evening after Democrat Anthony Brindisi gained an insurmountable lead last week. Tenney's campaign issued this statement wishing Congressman-elect Brindisi all the best, but urged supporters to hold him accountable when he, quote, votes to advance a liberal agenda. And residents in Oswego County are high and dry for at least 2 days after a water main break. The break happened on Lock Street in the town of Schuylkill and was repaired in 24 hours. Now, a boil water advisory is in effect for the village of Phoenix and parts of Schuylkill Several schools and businesses in the area are also impacted. And a bodybuilder in DeWitt, suspected of a massive drug bust, is pleading guilty to a drug charge and to kidnapping his wife. 39-year-old William Sullivan is facing at least 18 years in prison. Sullivan was arrested last year after a domestic incident during which authorities reportedly found millions of dollars worth of cocaine and marijuana in Sullivan's home, resulting in the biggest drug bust in the history of Onondaga County.
And New York Governor Andrew Cuomo visited President Trump in Washington today. Cuomo is lobbying the president for federal funds to start building a new Hudson River train tunnel, estimated at around $13 billion. The Trump administration previously cut off a deal made during the Obama years that would make New York and New Jersey pay half the cost of the tunnel. The state of New York will present listening sessions to educate New Yorkers on disability-accessible ride sharing. The sessions will take place at several locations across upstate New York and on Long Island, including at the New York State Fairgrounds here in Syracuse. The discussions aim to take a look at the accessibility of ride-sharing apps like Uber and Lyft for customers who have disabilities. And State Senator Kevin Parker of Brooklyn is taking a step forward in New York State gun reform. The senator introduced Bill S-9191 last week, and it has been added to the Rules Committee calendar. The bill would require those applying for a gun license or renewing an existing one to give up their social media passwords and be subject to a one-year review of their online search history. The proposal is controversial as some consider it to be a violation of both Second and First Amendment rights. And the sentencing for a Buffalo billion builder has been delayed 8 days. Louis Simonelli will now be sentenced on December 7th as his lawyers continue appealing for a shorter prison term. New York sentencing guidelines suggest Simonelli served anywhere between 9 and just under 12 years in prison. However, the developer's lawyers say Simonelli deserves a lesser sentence because of a weak case. The good Simonelli has done in his hometown and his dire prognosis with battle cancer.
Comedian Aziz Ansari will be going on tour next year, and he's making a stop off in Buffalo. Next April, Ansari will perform at the UB Center for the Arts at the University of Buffalo. Tickets go on sale this Friday at noon on Ansari's website. Ansari's Netflix series, Master of None, was put on hold after #MeToo allegations in January. And I believe we have those technical difficulties fixed. Let's now go to Citrus TV's Carmella Boykin with how the romaine lettuce scare is impacting campus. Carmella? All right, we still have technical difficulties. We will, of course, get those fixed as soon as possible. Now, coming up after the break, Mike Pompeo briefs U.S. senators on the investigation into the death of journalist Jamal Khashoggi.
And President Trump says he does not believe climate change is a pressing issue despite government report that says otherwise. Stay tuned.
You've got pre-diabetes, but with more exercise and a change in diet, it can be reversed.
I've tried exercising. It just makes me hungry for bacon.
I love bacon, too. And who really likes to exercise?
Not me.
Me neither.
Nobody. So we're good?
What? Oh, you still have pre-diabetes. Big time.
Here's your check. Oh, you got it.
You know, since I got rid of my car, I really enjoy walking.
Okay. Got it. No.
Getting pulled over for buzz driving could cost you around $10,000 in fines, legal fees, and increased insurance rates.
Oh, you're home early. You live with your mom?
That'll set your game back a few years. Buzzed, busted, and broke. Because buzz driving is drunk driving.
Come on, it's not that hard.
My big man fingers are having a problem with these little tiny buttons.
Whoa, watch it there. Your blood pressure's gonna go through the roof.
Tell me about it. I'm trying to learn how to get it down. Instead, it keeps going up.
High blood pressure can increase the risk for heart attack or stroke. Learn how to keep yours at a healthy range.
Ever hear a voice command? Just say text barbershop to 97779.
That's not what I said.
Just give me that. Now my blood pressure's up.
Your daughter just had her first breakup. Do you A, put yourself in her shoes, B, console her,
Don't worry, sweetie.
This is gonna happen a lot.
Or C, find her a new boyfriend.
Nice single boys. That was weird.
As a parent, there are no perfect answers. But you don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care will love you just the same.
If you see news happening on campus, in Syracuse, or across the nation, call the CitrusTV Newsroom, 315-443-1177, or tweet at CitrusTV News, your campus news leader.
Welcome back to Citrus TV News. President Donald Trump is threatening to shut down the government if Congress does not approve funding for a border wall.
President Trump is asking for $5 billion to fund the wall and says he would, quote, totally be willing to initiate a shutdown if his demands are not met.
Now, the government could shut down on December 7th if Congress and the president can't come to an agreement.
And Secretary of Defense James Mattis and Secretary of State Mike Pompeo briefed the Senate on recent developments in Saudi Arabia and Yemen today. In a series of prepared remarks, Mattis said that pulling back limited military support to Saudi Arabia would be misguided.
Now, the Senate is expected to vote on cutting off aid to Saudi Arabia in the war in Yemen this week. Senators hope to hear from CIA Director Gina Haspel following the agency's investigation into Jamal Khashoggi's death last week, but she did not attend today's briefing.
This morning, Pompeo announced $131 million worth of humanitarian aid to Yemen.
I believe I've read every piece of intelligence, unless it's come in the last few hours. I think I've read it all. There is no direct reporting connecting the Crown Prince to the order to murder Jamal Khashoggi. That's all I can say.
And Democrats nominated Nancy Pelosi to be the next Speaker of the House in a closed-door meeting this afternoon.
There was a movement in Democratic circles to choose someone other than Pelosi, but the California Congresswoman will go before the entire House for a final vote.
Despite the in-house opposition, including from newly elected Congressman Anthony Brindisi over New York's 22nd Congressional District, Pelosi is confident heading into January.
Focus is, are there dissenters? Yes, but I expect to have a powerful vote as we go forward.
And in more Democratic congressional news, Representative Hakeem Jeffries of New York is the New York House Democratic Caucus chairman. He defeated Barbara Lee by a margin of 10 votes to secure the position.
President Trump is, quote, not a believer in climate change. That's what he told the Washington Post on Tuesday in the wake of the release of a government report that warns that the U.S. will face serious climate change-related problems.
Trump says he does not believe in the severity of climate change. However, the report released on Friday and written by hundreds of scientists says the U.S. will lose billions of dollars and potentially human lives to climate change in the coming decades.
White House Press Secretary Sarah Huckabee Sanders disputed the findings of the report yesterday.
You have to look at the fact that this report is based on the most extreme modeled scenario, which contradicts long-established trends. Modeling the climate is an extremely complicated science that is never exact.
Others, like Democratic Senator Bernie Sanders, however, had a different take on the matter.
This is a hoax, that the future of the planet is at stake. Okay, not a debatable issue to my mind.
And the U.S. Secretary of Health and Human Services says the government is providing $2 billion in grants to fight the opioid epidemic. Alex Azar spoke today at the town hall on the crisis at Liberty University, along with First Lady Melania Trump.
According to reports, 48,000 people died in 2017 alone from opioid overdoses. Melania Trump says more public discussion is necessary to help combat the opioid epidemic.
Opioid addiction is an illness that has truly taken hold of our country.
And now the latest on the upcoming G20 summit in Buenos Aires. The city is preparing to start a security shutdown, which involves closing all public transportation and diverting flights away from the area.
Argentina's security minister is warning city residents to leave the town because of the closures and expected protests surrounding the summit. Protesters have announced at least 2 events that officials fear could become violent. And around 8,000 people are under orders to evacuate a town in the Australian state of Queensland as it faces widespread bushfires.
The BBC is reporting over 130 bushfires around Australia's northeastern state. According to that same report, those fires are caused by three elements: dry vegetation, winds, and a heat wave reaching temperatures of over 100 degrees Fahrenheit in some places.
The state is issuing a catastrophic danger warning, the highest level in Australia's history.
And new details coming in following that Lion air crash that killed more than 180 people. Investigators are now saying that the pilots manually turned off an automated safety system that was operating on bad data.
A recent report from Indonesia's Transportation and Safety Committee says the pilots kept trying to override the system, which thought the plane was going to start stalling.
Now, the crash was reportedly unavoidable, and the black box data recovered from the Boeing 737 is seemingly in line with what investigators think caused the plane to go down. And coming up after the break, we take a look at a close-knit group that does some very important work. Stay tuned.
Control teeth.
That my voice sounded like a possessed baby doll.
That no one would ever love someone as stupid as me.
That I was fat, ugly.
Disgusting.
The effect of bullying is potent.
We will no longer be the silent majority.
Now, when you see online bullying, there's something you can do about it.
We're gonna take action with the I.
I am a witness.
I am a witness.
I am a witness.
I am a witness.
I am a witness, and so are you.
Every time I hear the alarm bell go off in school, I think it's an air raid.
A lot of houses in our neighborhood have been destroyed. I like to close my ears and sing songs whenever the bombs come close.
I'm worried our new neighbors won't like us.
But I know it's all gonna be worth it. I just want my family to be safe. But these are not my words.
These are not my words.
These are not my words.
From the CitrusTV Weather Center, this is SU's most accurate weather forecast.
Welcome back to CitrusTV News. As you can see here, our current conditions across central New York are pretty similar to the conditions we're seeing here in Syracuse. Most of central New York is also seeing snow except for Elmira, which is just cloudy. But most are mid-30s and pretty chilly and snowy. And actually, we have a winter weather advisory right now in Syracuse. So if you look at my next slide here, the advisory is issued in Onondaga County and is in effect until 7 p.m. this evening. So this is because of the extreme winter weather that we have been seeing. And looking at tonight, as we continue into tonight, 32 degrees, and we have a 60% chance of snow, but we're only supposed to get about 1 inch in accumulation, so it's not going to be anything like what we saw last night. And if you look at our Thursday planner, as we continue throughout the day on Thursday, we're not going to be seeing any of that snow, which is nice. It should be ending around 9 a.m. It's going to be cloudy, and it's going to be in the mid-30s throughout the day on Thursday. If you look at our chance of snow over the next 24 hours, right now we have a 65% chance, and it's just going to steadily drop as we go throughout the day tomorrow. As we get to 2 p.m. tomorrow into 6 p.m., only a 15 to 25% chance of snow, so significantly less than the chance that we are seeing right now. I'll have my 5-day forecast coming up on CitrusTV News. Back to you guys.
Thanks so much, Amber. And now third time's the charm as we now go to Citrus TV's Carmella Boykin outside Ernie Davis Dining Hall with a report on romaine lettuce and E. coli.
Thanks, guys. I'm live outside Ernie Davis Dining Center, where, as you can see behind me, students are lining up for the final meal of the day. One thing that's not on the menu tonight is romaine lettuce. This is because the Center for Disease Control and Prevention released a statement that all romaine lettuce may contain E. coli. However, according to a recent FDA investigation, the contaminated strands of romaine lettuce come from the central region in California, the central growing region. So romaine lettuce grown in Northern California, Southern California, and the Mexican region is still safe for consumption. Now, FDA says growers are putting labels identifying exactly where contaminated strands are coming from, and you can expect to see romaine in the dining halls when they can confirm that their lettuce is not contaminated. For Citrus TV News, I'm Carmella Boykin.
Thanks, Carmella. And do you want to start knitting, improve your knitting, or knit with a group of people? Well, we found the perfect place for you. Citrus TV's Luke McGrath has more on how a group of women in Cicero are knitting at an incredible rate and giving much of it away.
Every Tuesday at the Northern Onondaga Public Library in Cicero, a small army of knitters gather, known as the Nopal Knitters, to socialize and work on their projects. Library manager Jill Young says the 20 or so women bring a lot of energy and excitement to the library.
They're a lot of fun to have on a Tuesday morning. We also have story hours going, so this place really jumps on Tuesday, especially with them laughing.
Amidst all that laughter is a constant workflow as this group of women knit at a speed that is truly unbelievable.
Yes, they are ongoing year long. They always have something going on where, because they knit so crazy. They knit crazy.
And the group uses that craziness for a good cause. They commit a big portion of their time to donating to different organizations.
Well, the Nopal Knitters are hard at work, making scarves we donate to the Red Scarf Foundation, making hat and mittens that are going to go to the rescue mission, and making lap blankets that will be donated to veterans, and of course, knocking off some of their own holiday to-do lists, and clearly, they're pretty good at what they do.
I've learned a lot from this class. Even though I've been knitting for a long time, I never made animals. I never knitted a cat or a dog or crocheted a dragon. I'm doing all that now, making crazy things and scarves and socks.
Because of Rosemary's advanced knitting skills, she can pretty much put together an entire outfit.
Yeah, I made this some time ago. I made my sweater probably 10 years ago. My socks are pretty good.
But don't worry, if you don't know how to knit, the Nopal Knitters are more than happy to show you the ropes, or yarn in this instance.
Try it because it's fun, it's portable. Once you learn, there's like 5 basic stitches you have to know, and then you have an opportunity to make just about anything you can think of. And it's not as difficult as it looks.
So grab some sticks and some yarn and start knitting. And if you run into some trouble along the way, the Nopal Knitters will be waiting for you. Reporting in Cicero, New York, Luke McGrath, Citrus TV.
A truly heartwarming story. Now moving from the library to the court, we are under an hour away from a huge Syracuse basketball game tonight. Find out why this might be considered a must-win game for Cuse in November. Plus, is Pascal Chukwu going to be healthy enough to play tonight? We will tell you all that and a whole lot more after this short break.
Leaving hot coals improperly extinguished can cause a wildfire.
Hey guys, it's Smokey!
It looks as if Smokey is going to use the drown, stir, drown, and feel technique. After the first drown, a good stir. Next, another drink. And finally, a close feel.
Is it cool? Okay. Yeah. Hey, Smokey, catch! Oh, my bad, Smokey.
Only you can prevent wildfires.
Most party fouls are pretty dumb. But if you decide to drink and drive underage, you could lose your license and your freedom. Underage drinking and driving. The ultimate party foul.
They'll test you. Try to break your will. But however loud the loudness gets, however many cheese puffs may fly, you're the driver. The one in control. Stand firm. Just wait. And move only when you hear the click that says they're buckled in for the drive. Never give up till they buckle up.
And now, your Citrus TV Sports Report.
In just about 50 minutes, Syracuse basketball takes on Ohio State in Columbus. It might sound silly given how early in the season this game is, but many are calling this a must-win game for the Orange, and history says they're right. A loss tonight would be SU's third already in the non-conference. In the past 27 years, SU has lost 3 or more non-conference games just 6 times. 5 of those 6 years, they didn't make the NCAA tournament. So it's a big game tonight, and a win is no easy task. Ohio State enters at number 16 in the country, the same ranking that Cuse was given in the preseason. The Buckeyes already have big road wins over Creighton and Cincinnati. Orange fans might recognize OSU's sixth man tonight. That's Wake Forest transfer Keyshawn Woods. He leads the team in assists off the bench. Tip-off tonight is at 7:15 on ESPN2. The good news for Cuse, well, they will have their starting center ready to go. Pascal Chukwu is going to play tonight, according to reports. The senior left the Colgate game early last Wednesday with a groin strain. At 7'2", he will be the tallest player on the court tonight by a wide margin. Caleb Wesson is the tallest player on the Ohio State roster, and he is just 6'9". Chukwu hasn't attempted a shot in SU's last 2 games. Now, Syracuse isn't the only ACC Big Ten Challenge game on the docket tonight. There are 3 other intriguing top 25 matchups. First at 7:30, while SU is on ESPN2. Number 4 Virginia takes on 24th ranked Maryland on ESPN. Both teams enter that matchup in College Park undefeated. UVA just claimed the battle for Atlantis title down in the Bahamas. Then later on tonight at 9:15, Florida State hosts Purdue. The Boilermakers and Seminoles are both 5-1 on the year. And at 9:30, perhaps the marquee matchup of the night, it's number 7 Michigan hosting 11th ranked North Carolina. The Tar Heels dropped their first game of the season to Texas last week, while the Wolverines have been on one of the surprise stories of the season so far. They are a perfect 6-0. The women's basketball ACC Big Ten Challenge is tomorrow night, and the SU women's team has another big game against a ranked team. Number 12 Syracuse hits the road to face 20th ranked Minnesota. Cuse is 6-1 on the season with 2 top 25 wins already. Their lone loss came in their lone road game so far at Oregon. Minnesota, on the other hand, is a perfect 5-0. Sticking with basketball, some big NBA games tonight as well. The Knicks are on the road tonight in Philly. New York had a 3-game winning streak snap last night in Detroit. They now look to get to 8-15 on the season with the win on the second night of a back-to-back. That's always tough. Meanwhile, the Sixers are currently second in the Eastern Conference. They are 5-2 since trading for Jimmy Butler and now 3 games back of the first-place Bucks. Philly last played Sunday in a win over the Nets.
All right, Tim. Lots of big sports games going on tonight. We'll be right back here on Citrus TV News live at 6.
I see you mobbing over her. Let's go. Let's mob. Let's crawl. Let's crawl. Let's crawl. Hey, yo, we mobbing. Come on, girl. Let's crawl. Hey, yo, let's crawl. Hey, yo, let's crawl. Hey, let's crawl.
We have some breaking news from the land down under. That's right. Knickers the steer is unofficially Australia's biggest steer, but he's taking the world by storm. The 7-year-old hails from a town about an hour and a half south of Perth, Australia.
Knickers is a Holstein Friesian, which is bred for dairy. Knickers is about 20 inches taller and twice as heavy as the average Holstein Friesian. His massive size has saved him from the slaughterhouse.
That's right, Gabrielle. Look at how he shapes up against our executive producer, Connor White. Pretty even matchup, I'd say. And that's all the time we have here on Citrus TV News. Have a great night, Syracuse.